Identity Fix Step 2, the 5-minute proof ritual. Anchors are the spark. Now we reinforce them with a simple container. Your brain won't fight. A 5-minute proof ritual. Think of it as identity weightlifting with the lightest possible dumbbell. 5 minutes is short enough to bypass resistance and long enough to create undeniable evidence. You're not trying to crush work. You're training the story, I'm the person who shows up. Why does 5 work so well? Your brain discounts future rewards and overestimates immediate costs. A 45-minute block feels expensive. 5 minutes feels cheap. That price drop gets you through the door. And once you're inside, mood follows movement. The first 60 seconds reduce uncertainty. Predictability lowers perceived threat. Your nervous system calms and you gain momentum. If you stop at 5, great. If you keep going, that's overflow, not obligation. Here's the exact playbook. Pre-decide the time, place, and trigger. At 7 p.m. at my desk, when the timer dings on dinner, I open notes and write for 5 minutes. The more specific, the less debate. Remove options, close all tabs, silence notifications, lay out tools beforehand. Start with the easiest action, open the draft, set the timer, type the first word. If the role is fitness, set your mat, press start, do a single set. If it's study, open notes and recall out loud from the first heading. The rule that changes everything, you're allowed, encouraged, even to stop at 5. Winning is showing up, not crushing it. The minute you turn the ritual into a minimum quota, you reintroduce ego risk. 5 is the floor, not the promise of more. Treat any extra time as a bonus round, not part of the deal. That keeps your brain relaxed and willing to return tomorrow. Let me give you a simple structure to run inside the 5. Minute 1, set up and start the smallest motion. Minutes 2 to 4, stay on a single tiny target. 1 paragraph, 1 set, 1 flashcard cluster. Minute 5, close the loop and stage the next cue. Write a 1-line note, next step, explain point B. Lay out your shoes. Title tomorrow's segment. Ending with a cue turns tomorrow into a downhill start. Quick wins you'll notice fast. Momentum spillover, 5 minutes often becomes 8, 12, 20 because friction is already paid. Mood follows movement. Low motivation days, stop tanking your streak because action lifts your state. Streak visibility, you get a calendar chain or proof log that makes the identity tangible. That's powerful because your brain likes to protect visible progress. Now here's where most people mess up. The just this once skip. Every system fails sometimes, but just this once teaches your brain that rules are negotiable. Use the never miss twice protocol. If today slips, tomorrow's 5 is non-negotiable and happens earlier. Overextending, riding the high and turning 5 into 60 daily. It feels good for a week and then you crash. Protect the ritual by keeping the base small, moving the goalposts. After a few days, you secretly raise the minimum. 5 minutes, but it has to be intense. Don't. Keep the floor honest. Let me show you exactly how to install this tonight. Write a 1-line identity statement at the top of a sticky note. I'm a writer who shows up daily. Under it, write your ritual formula. At 7 p.m., kitchen timer, desk, 5-minute free write. Put the sticky where the trigger lives, on the stove, next to the toothbrush, on your laptop. Prep your tools before the trigger. When the cue hits, count down from 3 and start the first physical motion within 10 seconds. That speed matters. It outruns bargaining. A micro-story to make this concrete. One client worked in tech and felt fried after work, so evenings were a write-off. We moved the ritual to mornings with coffee. Trigger, kettle switch flips on. Action, open IDE, run the last test, read the failing line for 5 minutes. He hated stopping at first because flow kicked in, but we kept the rule. 3 weeks later, he'd logged 15 identity days as a developer who ships daily, merged 2 small PRs, and most importantly, stopped dreading code after hours. The ritual lowered the emotional startup cost. What if you're interrupted? Treat it like a set at the gym. Pause the timer, handle the interruption, and resume to complete the 5. If you have under 2 minutes left and can't get back, run a 120-second microproof before bed, open the doc, write 1 sentence, set tomorrow's cue. That preserves identity even on chaotic days. Travel days or busy seasons? Use a portable version. 5 minutes can happen on a phone, in a stairwell, or at a kitchen counter. Replace equipment with body weight. Replace deep work with outlines or flashcard recalls. The content changes, the identity doesn't. If you remember nothing else, remember this: 5 minutes is not about progress, it's about proof under real conditions. Proof lowers fear. Low fear keeps you consistent. Consistency builds identity. Identity makes progress inevitable. Proof stacks fast. Now we deal with the real villain, future you fantasies. Identity fix step 3, kill the aspirational self. Now we deal with the real villain, the perfect future self that keeps you performing the identity instead of living it. That fantasy looks productive, new routines, pristine notebooks, aesthetic workouts, but it quietly raises the bar so high that today never qualifies. The brain compares current reality to the glossy ideal, feels the gap as threat, and stalls. The fix isn't to dream bigger, it's to strip the dream of its perfection costume. We're going to kill the aspirational self and replace it with 1% better today. Why does this matter? Because perfection fantasies turn every rep into a test. If the session isn't long, intense, or pretty, it doesn't count, so you either overexert and crash, or you don't start. High performers do something more boring and more effective. They protect identity by valuing consistency over aesthetics. Once you kill the fantasy, you stop auditioning for the role and start inhabiting it. You'll make more proof in 10 ordinary days than one epic day followed by a shame hangover. Here's the core move. Swap perfect future me for 1% better today me. That's not a motivational quote, it's an operating system. Your brain needs tiny certain wins. 1% is specific enough to be measurable and small enough to be doable under stress. It turns I must be perfect into I must improve a sliver, which lowers ego risk and unlocks action on low energy days. Let me show you exactly how to do this with a journal prompt you can run daily. Ask, what would the identity do in the next 10 minutes? Not what should I do this week? Not what would impress someone? 10 minutes anchors you to now. The identity is the role you chose earlier: writer, athlete, student, founder, creator. Write the answer as a single observable action. Draft a messy intro paragraph, do one bodyweight circuit, recall from the first heading, send one outreach email. Then do it. That's the entire workflow. A few principles keep this tight. First, shrink the horizon. If you catch yourself planning a perfect day, pull back to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is immune to perfection. Second, drop aesthetics. No optimizing dashboards, outfits, templates mid-action. If a tool helps, great, but not as a prerequisite. Third, value boring reps. Bored is a green light. It means you're doing the thing that builds identity, not the thing that entertains the ego. How do you measure progress without feeding perfection? Use proof count per week, not hours. Hours invite comparison and inflation. Proof count rewards showing up. Track identity consistency. How many days this week did you honor the role? Two strong metrics: proof count and consistency rate. Output spikes feel exciting, but they're noisy. Identity consistency is signal. Identity consistency beats output spikes because a steady identity compounds while spikes exhaust. Watch for the easiest way this derails: chasing aesthetics over evidence. Notion porn, gym fits, the perfect playlist, those are fine after the proof. If you catch yourself adjusting without acting, say evidence first, do the 10-minute action, then tweak if there's time. The behavior earns the design, not the other way around. Let me make this concrete with a quick before and after. Before, tomorrow I'll get up at 5, write for 2 hours, then run 5 miles. It sounds heroic and fragile. One poor night of sleep and it collapses. After, today, before lunch, 10 minutes, open draft, write a messy intro. Evening, 10 minutes, jog walk around the block. Same person, different operating system. The second version survives bad sleep, meetings, and rain because the bar is realistic and identity linked. You might be thinking, but won't I stay small forever? No, you scale through stability. Once 10-minute identity reps are reliable, you'll naturally stack when conditions allow. The point of killing the aspirational self isn't to avoid growth, it's to remove the fantasy gatekeeping that blocks growth. Think of it like strength training. You add weight when your form is stable, not to prove you're strong. Here's a simple daily template you can copy tonight. Identity label at the top: I'm a writer who shows up daily. Prompt: what would the identity do in the next 10 minutes? Answer one action in present tense. Write a messy intro paragraph. Do it. Log a single check mark, proof +1. Optional one-line note for tomorrow. Next up, expand point B. If you miss, don't negotiate with shame. Use the never miss twice protocol and run a 10-minute proof earlier tomorrow. Treat misses as weather, not character. Extract one tweak, time, place, trigger, and move on. Remember, we measure identity by evidence gathered, not vibes felt. A micro shift that helps replace I should with as a identity I do. As a student, I review for 10. As a founder, I send one outreach. That phrasing cuts bargaining and keeps the action small and clear. 10 minutes later, you've banked proof, and the fantasy has a little less power. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Your aspirational self is a costume. Kill the costume, keep the role. Ask the 10-minute question, value boring reps, count proofs per week. When you stop performing the identity and start living it in tiny units, the shame loop loses oxygen and momentum becomes your default. Environment design, make identity the default. Willpower is expensive. Environments are cheap. If you've ever noticed how easy it is to scroll without thinking, that's environment doing the heavy lifting. We're going to flip that for your identity, so showing up is the path of least resistance. When your space, tools, and cues do half the work, you save willpower for the actual reps. Start by removing friction for the identity you chose. Tools ready means zero setup workstations. If you write, leave the doc open to the exact sentence you'll tackle next. If you train, put your mat and shoes where you land in the morning. If you study, keep your notes app at the top of your home screen and the first heading pinned. Pre-write the next action as a verb you can do without thinking. Expand point B, run test suite, recall heading 2. The mission is simple. When the cue hits, your body can start before your brain argues. Now add friction to old you habits that pull you off track. Hide the apps that hijack your attention in a folder labeled Later. Bury it off your home screen and require a password or delay to open. Add a 10-second barrier. Log out of social, move the TV remote across the room, put snacks in an opaque bin on a high shelf. 10 seconds sounds tiny, but at the decision moment, it's enough to let your identity script win. If it's hard to start the distraction and easy to start the proof, you've already rigged the game. Identity cues make the role visible. Use visual tokens, a sticky note with your identity statement on the object you touch first. A calendar chain where you mark identity days, simple X's you do not break lightly. Role-based reminders work better than generic alarms. Instead of workout, set athlete 5-minute circuit now. Instead of study, set student 5-minute recall now. Your brain responds to labels tied to behavior more than vague intentions. Let's layer social reinforcement without turning it into shame. Pick an identity buddy, a friend with a different role but the same rules. You both text a single emoji when the 5-minute proof is done. No essays, no judgment. Once a week, do a 5-minute call. What helped, what hurt, one tweak. If you prefer public check-ins, post a simple proof +1 in a small community. Tiny accountability nudges consistency, not performance theater. Here's a micro story to show the power of the first 90 seconds. A client was prepping for a certification exam and kept starting later. We built a preset. The night before, she placed her notebook open to the first heading, a pen uncapped, timer preset to 5, and a sticky note saying, recall aloud first. In the morning, she sat, hit start, read the heading, and talked. She halved her startup friction, which doubled her identity days in 2 weeks. The work didn't change. The first 90 seconds did. Let's design your default in 3 passes: sightlines, surfaces, sequences. Sightlines, what you see first, you do first. Put identity tools in your morning sightline. Move distractions out of sight. One choice, home screen shows notes, timer, and your roll doc. Nothing else on page 1. Desk shows only the current project and a pen. Gym corner shows shoes and a mat, not laundry. Surfaces, every surface sends a script. Clear your desk except the single tool for the identity. Kitchen table? A physical book beats your phone during study. Bedside? A notebook and pen if you write mornings, nothing glowing. Countertop? Water bottle and shoes if you train after coffee. Sequences stack identity into existing routines. Tie your 5-minute proof to a daily anchor: coffee brewing, dishwasher closing, teeth brushing, commute ending. Preload the first action so the sequence requires zero thought. Kettle on, open draft, 5-minute free write. Brush teeth, shoes on, 1 circuit. Close laptop at work, list tomorrow's first task, send 1 outreach. Add friction to dopamine loops. Delay loops with rules like phone lives in the other room during proof, or social apps require a 1-minute countdown to open. Use website blockers with a 5-minute grace delay. Keep snacks that derail you behind a door you don't see often. Put your remote in a drawer with a sticky note, proof first. If you share space, create portable identity kits. A writer kit, foldable keyboard, phone stand, earplugs, sticky note with next line, a study kit, flashcards, pen, timer, recall list. A fitness kit, mini bands, timer app, printed 5-minute circuit. The kit says identity travels. No space becomes an excuse. A quick calibration rule: if starting takes more than 10 seconds of setup, you haven't removed enough friction. If stopping takes more than 10 seconds, you haven't added enough. You want fast on-ramps and gentle off-ramps for identity, slow on-ramps and sticky off-ramps for distractions. Finally, close loops so tomorrow starts today. End each session by staging the next cue. Write your next line in brackets, lay out gear, set the timer for the same slot. That single minute shrinks tomorrow's resistance by half. When your environment carries you into the rep, you stop relying on willpower and start trusting your defaults. Now the advanced lever, language that rewires your self-concept. Language upgrades speak like the identity. Words are levers. Change a few and your decisions change. The reason this works is simple. Your brain listens to how you talk about yourself and then tries to stay consistent. So let's upgrade the language that shapes your behavior and make it match the identity you're building. Start with labels. Swap "I'm trying to write" for "I'm a writer who shows up daily." That tiny shift turns effort into identity. Trying implies permission to stop. I am implies standards. If that feels fake at first, remember, you're not claiming mastery, you're claiming membership. As long as you show up, the label fits. Now tighten your scripts with if-then language. If it's 7 p.m., I write one sentence, no debate. If I brush my teeth, I put on shoes and do one circuit. If I open my laptop after work, I list tomorrow's first task and send one outreach. If-then scripts remove bargaining because they front-load the decision. Your brain follows the rule you've already written instead of negotiating in the moment. Let's clean up self-talk next. Keep it specific, present tense, behavior-linked, and shame-free. Specific, open draft, write the first ugly line, not be productive. Present tense, I'm writing now, not I will write later. Behavior-linked, write one line, not be motivated. Shame-free, missed the slot, next proof at 8, not I'm a mess. You're a coach, not a critic. The coach asks for a rep, the critic asks for a confession. Here's a simple template you can copy today. Identity line, I'm a student who studies daily. If it's 6:30, kettle on, recall aloud for 5. Self-talk rule, evidence first, then anything else. And a reset line for Mrs. Not a failure, just friction. What's one tweak? You'll be surprised how often that script pulls you back into action without drama. Let's talk boundaries, because identity leaks through your calendar. Conversation boundaries help you decline identity inconsistent commitments gracefully. Use this structure: appreciation, constraint, alternative. Thanks for thinking with me. I've committed my evenings to training this month. I can do a quick brainstorm Friday lunch, or I'm a no for now. That's clear, kind, and protective. Each clean no is an identity yes. You'll also need request upgrades. When someone asks for a quick favor, ask what's the outcome and by when. Vague requests eat your identity windows. Specific requests let you slot them around your proofs. If it doesn't fit, offer a tiny alternative that doesn't break your streak. I can review a single paragraph today, beats ghosting and keeps you in integrity. Now you might be thinking, isn't this just semantics? The reason it isn't is that language changes expectations, and expectations shape behavior. Saying I'm a runner makes a rainy day an inconvenience, not a stop sign. Saying I'm trying to run makes rain a valid excuse. The words you repeat become the rules you follow. Here's a tiny daily drill to cement this. Write 3 lines each morning. Identity, I'm a role who shows up daily. If it's time, I tiny proof, no debate. Coach note, today's win is 1 proof. Then a night wrap, proof count number. Next cue staged yes, no. 1 tweak, specific. Keep it under 60 seconds. The point is to talk like the identity at the 2 most decisive moments, before you start and before you stop.